Hello everyone, I am Colin and this is Harness Money. Today I want to give you my top 5 stock holdings in my portfolio. Now, I must say that I am a growth investor, but I wasn't always a growth investor. It took me a long time to learn enough information that I felt comfortable to become an investor in growth. When I began as really a value and dividend investor. I studied the Oracle of Omaha, Warren Buffett, and tried to model myself after him, which means that I would look for stocks that were undervalued, that were safe stocks that usually paid a dividend and that were undervalued their intrinsic value. But over time, I got more and more comfortable investing in younger, hungrier, more startup-like companies that are more into growth. So now let's break down what are my top 5 holdings in my stock portfolio. And number 1 is going to be GoDaddy GDDY. GoDaddy is my favorite stock right now. I put most of my money into this position because I just believe in it so much, because they have dominated their field, which is domain names, but then they have branched out, and I think the future is really bright for them. They're really going after e-commerce and a whole bunch of other traditional businesses that I think has huge potential. They just acquired a point of sale business. They are acquiring other businesses, but they have a bright future. I think their legacy business, the domain name and hosting, isn't growing very quickly, if not dropping as receding, but their e-commerce and some of their other more exciting cloud businesses are really growing and going to be dominant in the future. This is my biggest holding in my portfolio. Now, my second largest holding that I own is Corsair Gaming. Corsair Gaming is a gaming components business. They sell all kinds of different products that facilitate online gaming or Xbox, PlayStation gaming, Nintendo gaming, and they sell a lot of these products, and more also PC gaming. They're huge into PCs, so that's things like headsets, controllers, even systems. They sell these products, and I like this business because, again, I like the future. I think the sector of games is growing. Online gaming is growing in just the number of people that do it and how much time people spend doing it on their own. And then also I think they sell a great product. All of the products that I've seen them put out are really stellar products. They really have a high quality product that they put out, and they're expanding this line. So they're expanding the line of products that they offer. They're putting out great products, and I think the business, the whole sector overall is growing. So I really see this stock being big in the future. But right now, the stock is pretty beaten down. This probably would be one of the top spot of my holdings, but it has been beaten down over the last year, and sometimes that's just how it goes. When you're in growth stocks, it's going to be a volatile ride. There's no crystal ball that says when exactly a Tesla is going to pop, when it is going to reach those huge valuations. But I believe if you have a solid core business and you just give it time, the market will catch up. The market will see the value that it is bringing. The third one that I have on my list, before we get to that, I want to talk about the main theme that I have going on, and that is technology. I work in the technology space. I know the technology space pretty well. So everything that I have is pretty much in the technology space or somehow related to that, just because tech is valued very highly. I think that technology itself is just growing in value. The pandemic really sped up the process of people adopting more and more technology in their lives. Everything from babies all the way to the elderly and hospitals are using technology more and more and more. And I think the future is just more technology. More and more people are going to be spending more time on screens, on Zoom calls. So mine is heavily skewed toward technology. And that leads into my third holding, which is Bill.com. Bill.com was a sleeper hit for me. It was not on my top radar, but I put money into it, and then I put a little bit more money into it, and it has just performed and performed and performed for me. And that is because It is, again, a technology company that caters towards businesses. I've talked a lot on this channel about I love stocks that are business to business. When a business serves other businesses, they have customers that have consistent revenue, that consistently need products and services to continue the operation of that business. And Bill.com does all of the back end billing. Their mission is to get everybody that is doing paper billing to use their service and automate it and go towards the cloud. They don't necessarily serve the large high-end businesses that are maybe international, that have a lot of operations like a General Motors or an SAP. I'm sure they're going to get there. I'm sure they will eventually serve these businesses, but they are really focused on the mid-size and down, smaller companies to serve and deliver their products. And it has just blown away my expectations. They've really captured the market and continue to increase their revenue over time. Now, my fourth business that I have on my portfolio is another one that I wasn't expecting it to be in my top 5, but it has become part of my top 5, and that is Workday. Workday is another business that serves other businesses, and they provide technology human resource services. So apps, software to really manage the human resources of large companies. They're going after the large big boy companies, the Procter & Gamble's, Coca-Cola, General Motors. They want those big contracts and they want their software in these gigantic businesses. And from what I've heard, I've never actually used Workday. This is another example of when I invest into a business, I know of the business, but I don't know everything about the business. In the past, I've talked about Dollar General. Dollar General was probably my best performance stock during the post-2008 world, that I knew what Dollar General was as a business, but I didn't know everything about it. I didn't study it in depth and know all of their strategies that they had going on, but I saw the macroeconomic situation and invested into that business. Same with Workday. I saw the macro market for this business. Every single company, public company, and most, if not all, small private companies need human resources, and they need it to do well. They need to have an easy-to-use system. And everyone I've talked to that has used Workday has said it is easier to use than some of the competitors, some of the older legacy systems like SAP and the like. But I saw this business and I invested into it, and it has just grown into my top position. This often happens, is that I let my winners win. This was something I learned from the Motley Fool, is that when you invest in a stock racehorse, you really put more money into your winners and let the losers just sit there. I don't like to sell. I like to stay invested into these businesses into the long term. So that means that I put money in and I just let them ride. And if I see a business increasing in value, I allocate more money toward that business. And this is what happened with Workday. I wasn't expecting anything from it, but I did see the macro trend of cloud human resources becoming value. And so I put more money into this, and it has done tremendously well. And now, number 5, the fifth and final stock that makes up my top 5 holdings is Atlassian. This is actually an Australian company that I didn't expect to become part of my top tier portfolio, but it is because it has done tremendously well. And I got involved in this product because I actually used this product. I actually saw some of the products that they offered, and I realized, oh, this is a really valuable tool. I bet if people adopt this tool, then they're not going to want to let it go. And that is exactly what happened. They offer software development software. They provide products and services that help software developers create new products and services that then get passed along to consumers and other businesses. But it's very easy to use. It's very customizable. It's very easy to use software, and they have a suite. They have a whole suite of products. I love the land and expand aspect of stocks. If a stock can get a customer in the front door and then expand that relationship into a universe of products or services, then they have a really good, solid winner. I'm thinking of Microsoft. Microsoft does this extremely well. they bring people into their universe, and then they offer them all these other products and services that that really complement their core product or service that they offer, and then you're trapped. You're like, this is so good, or you've implemented the product or service and then the switching costs are too high. I think that is the same with Atlassian. They have such a great product that once people implement this, it's hard to switch, and they don't want to switch. The cost of switching is not in their favor, so they really do a great job of this. And let's give you one more holding that I have that is probably the biggest holding of them all, but I don't really consider it a part of my portfolio, and that is VGT. VGT is the Vanguard Information Technology ETF. When I began investing, I always recommend for brand new investors that they pick an ETF, that they start investing into an ETF, because it gives you a solid foundation for investing into the stock market. I like to see $1,000 invested into an ETF all the way up to $10,000 into an ETF in the beginning when you're a very first investor into the market, because but number one, I believe that information technology will be bigger in 20 years than it is today. And the other reason is that it gives you the diversification so that you don't rely on any one stock for your returns, and it will slowly grow over time. It's not going to get you the 100%, 200% return in 2 years or 3 years, but it will give you solid increases in your portfolio. And that will give you more motivation to start exploring the other universe of stocks that are out there. Once you know you have a solid foundation and that money is not going anywhere, then you can branch out and take bigger and bigger risks. I am more concentrated today in single stocks than I have been in the past because I have more knowledge. I'm better at selecting stocks that I think will do well over time than I was 10 years ago, than I was when I started out investing. So this has been my top 5 investment holdings. For more stock investing videos, check out my channel at Harness Money. And thank you for watching this video. Sound off in the comments. I reply to everyone in the comment section as much as I can. I love hearing from you. And remember, make good money choices. Till next time.